Ever since I was young, I've always had a big ambition. And now, whether that be in school or in sports or in life, I always had this idea and this thought that I wanted to become the best. I had to become the best. I always had this deep and rooted belief that I was better than everyone else. I was always optimistically delusional about everything I believed in. I even went as far as to try and burn 3,000 pieces of newspaper at one time just to prove that it was possible. It is possible. It just takes a really long time. And I've noticed that throughout my life, there's been a lot of times where I've been absolutely delusional about many, many things. And many people have called me crazy and an idiot and delusional and many other words that to some would hurt them a little bit. But to me, hearing those things was actually quite refreshing. When someone would call me crazy or chaotic or psycho, it was almost nice to hear those things. Because in a world where everybody is so average, so mundane, so boring, it's almost a compliment when someone says that you are different than the rest. And I look back and I reflect back on my life now, and I look back at the way I used to live and the people I used to hang out with, and I look and I'd even think about, sometimes people would ask me my goals, and I would tell them, yeah, man, like, I want to own a McLaren one day, right? I want to have some Lamborghinis, right? All this other fun stuff. I want to have, nice big mansion, all this stuff, right? And people look at me and go, okay, what's your real goal though? Like, be realistic. Like, what's your actual goal? I'm like, dude, that's my goal. As a matter of fact, that isn't my goal. That's my reality. Time just hasn't caught up to make that real, but that will be my reality. And people look at me like Stefan, like I'm so confused. Like I don't understand. Like, what do you mean? Like, you can't make that kind of money. I'm like, okay, that's your belief, not mine. There's this quote I heard not too long ago, one of my favorite quotes of all time, which is that if you can see the invisible, you can do the impossible. And it is this idea that if you can see what others can't see, you can do what others can't do. You can do what others deem impossible. And looking back at my life now, I've created a group filled with delusional entrepreneurs to try and find their tribe and connect with other like-minded individuals to escape the matrix. I noticed that one of the biggest blessings in my life has been this paradigm I've held that I am not like other people. I do not think like other people. I don't do like they do. I don't talk like they talk. I don't walk like they walk. I don't dress like they dress. I am not like other people. And when I was young, this is a hard concept to grasp, that I'm different than everyone else. I thank God for it now that I'm different than everyone else, because if you look at the average person around you, wouldn't want to live their life. But it brings up this idea of delusion, right? Which is something I've pondered a lot lately, which is like, do you need to be delusional? Do you need to be delusional to make it in this world? And I look at the people around me that are also very successful, and some that are hyper ultra successful, right? That are monumentally successful to a great extent. And I try and find the commonality, right? Like, what is the common LCD, the lowest common denominator, right? What is the common variable amongst all the winners that I know? And while I could sit here and say, like conviction and self-belief and confidence, and those are all part of them, right? And competency and social skills, those are a big part of it. I would say one of, if not the biggest differences between people that are ultra monumentally successful and those that are still brokies is the absolute undeniable conviction and delusion in themselves to get what they want in all aspects, in any realm, right? Like, not just business, but in anything in life. And so I guess, just to sort of give you an example, I have one of my buddies who lives quite close by, and he knows without a shadow of a doubt that he will get every single car that he has ever dreamed of. It doesn't cross his mind that he won't get it, because he will. Now, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when, right? Like, that's what it is. It's not, oh, if I get it, will I get it? It's a matter of when will I get it. And this concept, I think, for some people is very hard to grasp, because they themselves lack belief in themselves, right? They don't truly believe in themselves. I talk to entrepreneurs every single day, and everyone says they believe, because, like, obviously you have to, right? Oh yeah, I believe in myself. But most people truly don't. Most people I talk to don't truly believe. Like, they don't have undeniable conviction in themselves to make it work. And so here's what happens, is when you don't actually truly believe, like to the utmost extent to go all in and give it your everything, what happens is you reserve yourself a little bit. You hold yourself back a little bit because you don't want to go all in because you know that you're going to fail anyway. And so you basically tell yourself, well, Stefan, why would I go all in? Why would I put all my energy in this one basket when I know that there's probably a good chance I don't make it work? And what happens is that belief is a double-edged sword of both bad, which is that when you believe that, it's bad, and when you believe that, your actions validate this idea that you're not going to make it, and so you don't go all in, which is actually then the reason why you don't make it. Excuse me. And so I think the reason why delusional entrepreneurs or delusional people make it in this world and become monumentally successful in all realms is not because they're actually delusional, but because, well, I guess it is a point, but because they're delusional, they go all in because they have the belief and the undeniable conviction that they make it work, which then lets them be successful because they actually committed themselves to it. And I think that's the difference, is the people that truly believe give their absolute all, they give their everything, they give their entire being to the thing, and those that don't keep themselves reserved, right? And when you reserve yourself, when you hold back, you don't go all in, and you will never, ever, ever achieve the things you want, especially not the things that require a great degree of sacrifice, like entrepreneurship, something that is so uncertain, so unforgiving. You have to go all in. You can't be half in, half out. You can't just dip your toes into the water. That you will never make it in entrepreneurship trying to be half in, half out. If you look at any of the most successful entrepreneurs of our generation, look at Jeff Bezos, look at Elon Musk, look at Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg wasn't half in, half out. He wasn't starting Facebook and TikTok at the same time. Right? He wasn't working on TikTok or, Facebook or Meta, shall I say, as a side gig, as a thing on the side. He made it his absolute main mission. That was his entire thing. That was his life's purpose. And because he had this undeniable conviction in himself to make it work, he committed everything to it. So much so that he borrowed money from his friends to invest at the beginning of the company because he didn't have any. But that's how much conviction he had. Is he borrowed, I think, the actual number ended up being, I think people say it was 40,000. It was $18,000 from Eduardo Saverin. Right, $18,000. Imagine borrowing $18,000 from your friend to start a business. Think about how much conviction, how much belief you'd have to have in yourself to do that. To say, hey man, give me $18,000. I promise you it'll be worth it. Think about how good you'd have to be at selling somebody on something of an idea that doesn't even exist to get them to give you $18,000 for something they cannot see and or touch. That is what I call delusion. That is what I call undeniable conviction and confidence in yourself. Is that right there. Getting your best friend to give you $18,000 for something that doesn't even yet exist and has no promise of a payoff. That is delusion. And that is also single-handedly the reason why I believe Mark Zuckerberg and so many of these other entrepreneurs become so successful, is because they commit their every little piece of their life to this. So that begs a question for us. It's, are you delusional? And I'd argue in a world filled with so many boring people, you'd want to be delusional, but the point is not everybody can be. And everybody wants to say they're delusional and wants to say that, oh yes, I believe myself, but most people truly don't. Truly. Sit down with yourself. Just you and yourself, nothing else. And ask yourself, do I truly believe? Do I truly believe in what I'm doing? Do I truly believe in myself? And don't just sit down after 5 minutes and go, yeah, this is good. Sit down for an hour and ask yourself this, right? And figure out if you believe. Because here's the thing, if you have even one shadow of a doubt about what you are doing, you will not make it. Because I can promise you, entrepreneurship is so difficult already as it is, that if you do not have unwavering faith in just yourself, the idea that you're going to make it through all these tough times that are inevitable is very slim. And that is why belief, an undeniable belief and conviction in yourself, is the number one prerequisite to becoming an entrepreneur, in my opinion. Is you have to be delusional in yourself and in your capabilities. You have to be. Because if you're not, you will quit. You will give up, like so many people do, because they lose faith. Most businesses don't go out of business because they just somehow lost all the money. They went out of business because they lost all the money because the person lost faith in what they're doing. They stopped trying. They stopped going all in. I'd argue that's why. Because people lose faith. And so we come back to this idea of being delusional. Right? I don't know if you can train it. I don't know. Ever since I was young, I was always delusional. Always have been, always will be. It was something when I was young people made fun of me for, and I got bashed for, bullied for, roasted for, and now people praise me for it, for the fact that I'm delusional, right? Interesting how that works, right? Very interesting how that works. But I urge you to ask yourself the question and figure out if you are. Truly figure it out and ask yourself. Because there's so many people in this world I know that say they are, but they're not. And they don't actually believe in themselves. And that's what holds them back, nothing else. It's that they lack the belief in themselves to even do the thing they want to do in the first place. And when you can't fully believe in yourself, how are you ever going to get anybody else to believe in you? Prospects, clients, team members, investors. If the number one prerequisite is missing, which is you believing in yourself. So you have to be delusional. And it's difficult at first, but as you go on, it gets easier because you understand that delusion in and of itself is not a curse, but a blessing. I have no other things that I think I want to say. I think I've said what I wanted to say, and I hope that it can perhaps inspire you or even just give you some insight and open your eyes to some stuff. So yeah, if you have any questions, message me, join my cult. The link is down below. We're creating a movement. I'm on a mission to help young men find their tribe, build a masculine network, and connect with other people who are trying to escape the matrix and provide and protect for those they love. If that sounds like you, then you know what to do. Peace.